Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Road to the ProcureTech Cup, the show that's all about showing you, procurement professionals, the art of the possible with procurement technology. Today's episode 24 of the 2025 season. We've been going at this for a while, and thankfully we're about to get to the cup in the next couple of weeks. I'll show you in a second here, but today on the show, very excited. We've got SpendHQ coming to demo their procurement analytics solution. And so that should be quite grand, as you'll see in a second. So I'll bring on my co-host. As always, Gabe Perez is joining us, Senior Vice President, or Chief Strategy Officer, I should say, at RiseNow, your partner to design, build, and operate next-generation procurement operating models. How's it going, Gabe?
Hey, it's going great, Joel. How are you? Happy Friday.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Are you coming out of the foxhole in terms of the sickness in the family?
Yes. Finally, yesterday was the first day of daylight. It's been hitting everybody pretty hard, but we're very grateful to be on the other end of it.
Yeah, and you know what ProcureTech Cup means as well, right? It means the spring is coming. So hopefully everybody who's watching the show is going to be done with the Northern Hemisphere sickness period.
Yep, I'm sure everybody's starting to wear their shorts on Zoom calls right now.
That's right. Very cool. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get to our guests here. Just a reminder, we're on the journey to the ProcureTech Cup tournament. So it's coming up in 4 weeks. So it's rapidly approaching. We've got SpendHQ on the show. All the other folks that have been on the show since September are available for viewing on the YouTube channel if you need to catch up in preparation for the ProcureTech Cup. So very excited about that. So let's bring on our guests here, and they've dressed up for the occasion. So we've got both Sean McPartland, Head of Solutions Consulting at SpendHQ, and Jose Bustillo, Procurement Excellence Director at SpendHQ as well. Thanks so much for being on the show, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Excited to be here.
Thank you for hosting us. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, and for people who don't know the backstory here, this is quite special in the sense where the prodigal son of the ProcureTech Cup, Jose Bustillo, helped me count manually out of the goodness of his heart last March about 12,000 votes on LinkedIn, and we put some bow ties together for the finals. I figured since he was coming back, I would put a tie on, but he surprised me. And, they both pulled the bow tie out. So thanks for dressing up, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, for sure. I'm doing my best Jose impression right now.
Joel, thank you. I mean, I just can't believe that we are now sharing this space once again. Now I am on the other side of the spectrum, so I remember those nights and late nights counting votes and the craziness that went around this. So really excited to be here. Really excited to represent SpendHQ and join Sean as well from the team. And Gabe, it's so good to see you once again. The last time I saw you was in New York City last summer. So hopefully I get to see you again soon. And Joel, I'll have to meet you in person pretty soon.
Likewise. So, all right, let's get to the agenda here just to make sure everybody knows what's coming up. We've got a company overview, unique value proposition SpendHQ proposes, and their ideal customer profile. Then we'll get straight into the solution demo. We'll wrap it up by getting real with Gabe, right, in terms of demos and solutions look great, but so what? Right? How do we make it work in client context? How do we get the business outcomes? And then we'll map it to the ProcureTech market map so that you know where SpendHQ sits in relation to everybody else who's been on the show. So that being said, Jose, I will turn it over to you. I know you're ready, so take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And to everybody that's joining us, thank you for watching. We're really happy to have you join us. And once again, I'm really excited to represent SpendHQ and to join Joel and engaged here as we go through this. So before I start, I wanted to ask you a question and just think about it for a moment. How confident are you with your procurement data? Just think about that for a minute. And also, how quick are you to extract information to make data-driven decisions? Maybe simple questions, but just think about it for a second. And then what if I tell you that you could consolidate all of these critical spend data, project tracking, performance management into one intuitive interface solution like SpendHQ is. So that's where we come to place. We are here just not to offer you, to help you with data refining, but also thinking about all those insights, the trends. How much are you spending across all categories? Just think about that. How much are you spending across suppliers? How much are you spending across the regions? And also, do you have a clear consolidated view of your total spend? It's like when you don't have access to this data, it's like driving a car without a GPS. That's what others do. Usually we drive cars without a GPS. So now, moving into the performance management aspect of things, we help you with the data, we help you generate all of these insights, all those trends, but then how effective are you with tracking savings? That's where performance management comes to place. SpendHQ was founded in 2012 with the ASI implementation, and then in 2022 with the emerge of Parangusta, which is a performance management tool. We are the leading best-in-class provider of enterprise spend intelligence and procurement performance management solutions. So we help you bring the data to value, and this some of the different things that makes us different. And 75% of our customer-facing teams have in-house procurement experience. I'm one of those individuals. I used to work in procurement back in the days, overseeing the complexities, not just of a tech implementation, but as well of seeing the data and consolidating complex data from different ERP systems and then having that clear vision. So I SpendHQ, because we do have that experience, you sit with us, we hear you, we understand where you are, we've been there before. We have analyzed over 9 trillion of spend data over the past 20 years, which is more than spend data than any other provider. But that's not it. We want to make it easier for you. We want you to keep your processes in place if that's what you prefer, but also how do we making those workflows easier? We are built for collaborations, and therefore we have 40 plus product integrations with the most used tech providers that you could think of. Coupa is one of them, SAP is one of them as well, and to mention for Market, Rapid Ratings, Market Dojo, and so many more. You can go to the website and you can see a full list of all of these existing workflows as well as integrations that we have. What we want is for you to align your insights with action, with spend intelligence and performance management. We want you to empower your teams, your leaders, to make confident decisions by unifying all these spend data that you have, but project tracking initiatives, but identifying performance management risk and metrics, but also mitigating risk now as it is with a one single source of truth. Our customers, those enterprise, large enterprise as well, and we continue to drive success through procurement excellence. We continue to elevate and help procurement leaders and procurement organizations accelerate outcomes more than ever before. 2024 was a good example of that. We have over 500 plus customers already, 20,000 and plus unique users using the tool, not just on SI, but also on procurement, on performance management, over 35 countries. Just think about it. It's a lot of users, many customers, so thank you to all our loyal customers as well. But if you can see here, over 1 trillion spend analyzed just in 2024. That is over 100,000 procurement projects managed just in the SpendHQ platform. Big metric here is over 17 billion in savings generated, which is about 3 million average savings per provider. So it's a lot of excitement around what the solution does, but also the analysis and recent studies have said that CPOs continue to keep procurement performance, in this case, spend analytics, as one of the top priorities in 2024. In 2025, you continue to do that as well. So we're really happy that you join us. We hope you enjoyed the demonstration that my colleague Sean will have. We're happy to answer any other questions, and we continue to drive procurement excellence and to accelerate outcomes as we move forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Jose. And as we move to the demo here, I'll just put Sean's screen up. The question I had is, like, if I do some quick math, right? 20K users, 500 customers, it's like an average of 40 users per customer. So I'm just, as you go through the demo here, I'd be interested to know, like, are those users that are using the tool that, you know, are in procurement category managers, or are you counting folks that are outside procurement as well? Are you bringing them into the conversation somehow, right? So
Sure.
I don't need an answer on the number itself, but just the dynamic there more around, you know, is this a procurement tool or is this an enterprise tool where I bring folks outside procurement into it?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question and a great call out, because that's one of the advantages of SpendHQ is we're giving visibility to not just the procurement teams. So we actually provide essentially kind of read-only access, kind of approval access to any non-procurement users that would need to be, up to speed on what's going on with the procurement projects. That user count that Jose mentioned is specific to the procurement teams that are actually creating the projects, identifying the opportunities with the data. So yeah, it's a great call out. Finance teams are involved, business units are involved, and we want to be SpendHQ is Spend headquarters, the headquarters of all of that spend information, and then the project tracking is part of that. So let's get into it. This is the SpendHQ platform. So, on the spend side here, we can see all of the metrics around the spend and some details around insights. So top spend increase, spend by different dimensions. And, SpendHQ prides ourselves on being the market leader in categorization and data cleansing, but that's essentially table stakes at this point. We want to make sure we're getting your data cleansed and categorized correctly. This obviously is demo data that's gone through that categorization process, but the goal here is really to identify insights in the data that can then drive action and drive value for the organization. So I'll actually go through a use case here, as if I were a category manager. How would I find an opportunity and then action that and report the savings from that opportunity? So first of all, I'll jump to this categories view. SpendHQ works with our clients to identify a custom built taxonomy based on procurement best practices, and then we align the data to that taxonomy. So we're doing all of that data work on behalf of our clients. And then as a category manager, I can come in here and see how all of that spend is categorized, both at the kind of L1 level, but then also the subcategories under each of those categories. And then as a category manager, I can actually flag or favorite certain categories. So, let's say these are the categories that are impactful to me that maybe I'm in charge of. And I can also flag categories that are super fragmented. So, general industrial supplies here, we have 141 different suppliers. Maybe there's an opportunity to consolidate that versus categories that are single sourced or dual sourced, where there might be some risk involved in over-reliance on single suppliers. And then we can also flag categories that are increasing or decreasing in spend. So back to my category manager example, I'm terrible at saying in character here, but category manager, come in here, I can see, okay, it looks like my pallet spend is going up, and I can set these thresholds. So in this case, at least 30% based on the time period that I have selected. So, I'm looking at 2024 data, pallet spend is up at least 30% year over year. And I can see here the compliance rate is 35%. This is saying, hey, I'm not using the preferred suppliers that I have set. And I have 84 different suppliers in this category. So this might be an opportunity to dig into. And with just one click there, I can drill in and see all of the spend related to, in this case, the pallets subcategory. So here, spend's up 40%. Supplier count's actually up 115%. So we're seeing an increase in suppliers added in this area. And interestingly here, I can see there's 70 suppliers that make up the bottom 20% of the spend. So we have a lot of tail spend, a lot of supplier fragmentation here. And then I can see a breakdown of all of those suppliers sorted high to low in spend, as well as the preferred suppliers and any new suppliers that I have added to the spend data. So these are 10 suppliers that I haven't seen before this year. Maybe want to look into those, put contracts in place, et cetera. And then lastly, I can notice here, there's not necessarily a great strategy around divisional breakdown. So each division seems like is using their own suppliers. There's not too much overlap there. So all of this to me is a red flag as a category manager saying, hey, this might be a category that I want to action and create a project based off of. So track with me so far. Yeah.
So question there. How frequent is the data updated? Because with tariffs and everything going on, these types of increases and changes in what suppliers you're using and your costs, plus if you look at the last 5 years of this world, how much disruption and change we've seen, how frequently is this data being loaded, considering it has to come from other systems and be normalized?
Yep, absolutely. So two call outs there. One, for implementation, we try to get at least 2 years worth of historical data. Just to your point, a lot has changed. We want to kind of flatten out some of that craziness. And then on an ongoing basis, our standard refresh cadence is monthly. So as soon as the books close on a given month, we pull the data directly from the ERPs. In a lot of cases, we can connect directly to the data, pull the relevant tables, and then we're refreshing the data. It's typically a 2 to 5 day turnaround time for that monthly refresh.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. No worries. All right, so I've identified pallets as my potential opportunity here as a category manager. From here, I can click this Create Opportunity button, and it'll default some fields, but I can add in details. Maybe I want to say pallets, strategy, review. I can add additional information there. And then what I'm creating is what we call an opportunity. And here I can see all of the opportunities that have been created by the team, including the one that I just created. And then as a procurement team, we can decide, we can review these together and decide which of these opportunities to approve or reject. And then when I say, yep, I know that this is a project that I want to work on, I'll click approve there. I can send a note to the team. So it'll be email notification saying, yep, this project is approved and we're planning to work on it. And then it will open this full project intake form, but it's obviously copying over the fields that I've already input. But now we work with our clients to identify fields that they want to track as part of that initial project.
And Sean, I think I saw a little tab called Insights on your previous screen, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, this is great if I'm peeling back the onion and crying myself manually. And I saw, to link it back to what you were saying at the beginning around the slides, like, is your solution allowing or pushing category managers, these opportunities to review instead of having to do it manually?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the goal here is everything, all of the pre-built analytics. And I will mention we have a separate analytics module where you can build custom dashboards, but everything that we've pre-built is, built by procurement people. I myself was in procurement consulting before coming to the software side. So it's intended to answer key questions around procurement. Where are my new suppliers? Where are my supplier increases? But then, yeah, it's a great point. We do culminate all of those together to this single insights module where you can then, without having to, hunt and peck in the data, I can see, okay, I have 12 suppliers that have at least a 200% spend increase. I can, of course, set those thresholds there. And then I can drill down into those and see, okay, Fastenal, as an example, is my top supplier spend increase with at least 2 million in spend. So we can set, thresholds there as well. And then I can drill down to the data and see, okay, looks like my hometown of Atlanta is driving the majority of that spend increase with that supplier.
So I'm going to get into the spirit and let's get real.
Great call.
A little bit early on the let's get real spirit, but these are great and the insights are great, but we're still in the world where 20 years later, people's data stinks. Right, it's really bad, and you guys are at the mercy of the data that you're getting from the customer, garbage in, garbage out. So, with all the experience you have, all the data you've seen, how are you helping these customers that bring you immature data sets or really poor data sets?
Sure. Yeah, and it's a great point. I mean, we've had clients that have been with SpendHQ for 10 plus years, and we've seen their data evolve over time. We have some clients we can meet clients where they're at. We have some clients that they truly are just giving us, supplier names, and dates and amounts and saying, hey, we don't know what we're buying here. And for clients like that, we're able to help them by leveraging our $9 trillion worth of spend that we have categorized and look at, okay, where have we seen that supplier categorized for other clients, and then use that to help fill in the gaps. But then, what's exciting for us is now that clients' data is getting a lot better, we're getting down to, material master, we're getting down to, line item detail. We're able to look, build dashboards around purchase price variance, build dashboards around, trends over time. And that's where it's really exciting for us. But, we have clients kind of across the spectrum in terms of maturity, and, we're trying to be an advisor to them to move them up that maturity curve and improve their data over time. All right, so again, identifying insights is step one. We've talked a little bit about, spend analytics being kind of table stakes, but then this is where we're really actioning that data. So, we identify the opportunities, and then here on the project pipeline, this is where I can see all of the different projects that the team is working on. I can see which suppliers are participating in a project, and then the financials. So, what is the baseline spend? And this is coming directly from the spend data. What is the baseline for those suppliers for that category? And then what is the forecasted versus actual savings? So once we complete this project, we're inputting the actual savings, culminating all that up to the total savings and the total value that we're driving for the company.
Very cool.
This is pretty. Sorry, was there a question?
No, I was going to say there's a question from the audience from Lori Riley here, who says we're measuring value opportunities in functions other than commercial, and she mentioned that commercial is essentially their procurement function. So other than procurement, can these opportunities and projects be customized by function so they can coexist in this single platform?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question. So obviously savings is the kind of, base. Most of our clients are tracking savings to some degree, but we have some clients, you'll see here CO2 reduction, they're tracking that. We have some clients that are tracking, working hour reduction, where they're getting efficiencies in terms of time savings. So it's going, we don't necessarily say we're savings tracking, we say we're value tracking, because it's really around, what is important to the team, and then making sure that we're able to quantify that and track that in the platform.
Great. And they can be logged, like these opportunities can be logged and or actioned on by procurement, people sitting in procurement or outside of procurement, if they're, if you onboard them to this way of working, right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, and that's we see that a lot where, on the intake side, the business unit's actually the one that's reaching out to procurement saying, hey, let's work on this project. Procurement takes that up, and then the business unit's able to follow along and see, okay, where are we with that project? Where do we expect, when do we expect to get the results of that? And then as a procurement team, we can understand, who's working on what projects, and, where are we in the process as well.
And this gives you the visibility in terms of like, when are we going to realize these savings over time from an executive standpoint? And then are we on track? Are we ahead? Are we behind in terms of realizing the plan? You got it. That's right. Cool. And is there anything else you wanted to show us, Sean?
I mean, there's so many things I want to show you, but we can stop here. The last thing I'll mention is, on the reporting side, on the savings, we work with our clients to create custom dashboards to show those results. So, leadership teams are coming in here and looking at, what's the productivity looking like? Are we expected to hit our goals? And so we build all of that, custom for individual clients as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for showing it, Sean. And we already started dipping our toes into let's get real territory, but let's get there formally.
Yeah, so I've got sort of a two-part question. The first one is, so what? Spend analysis has been around a long time. There are many providers that have been around for 15 to 20 years. And you guys all can demo a good dashboard. So what really has made SpendHQ so successful? I mean, you guys are definitely one of the more successful ones. You've been around for a long time. But if I'm evaluating spend analysis technology, it's a very hard category to evaluate. Because like I said, people can show you any dashboard you want in the sales cycle. So what really has been your unique differentiation? And if there's time, I'll ask a follow-up.
Sure. Yeah. So I think two things. One, on the spend data itself, it does matter that we've been around a long time, and it does matter that we've categorized the most data of any provider. So just, think about like AI and machine learning, data is only as good as the model that you train it on. And we have a very large $9 trillion data set to kind of fill in those gaps for clients. So that's part one on the spend side. But kind of taking it up beyond that, you're right that it is, to some degree commoditized. Everybody's going to show a great dashboard and things like that. But it's, what are you doing with that data, which is why we're so focused on that performance management side and actually driving that value for our clients.
Actually, that I didn't plan it this way, but that leads into my next question on the performance management side, because one of the challenges I've seen with systems that don't own the data is you can give recommendations, you can give some insights, but you can't always execute them because you're not the system of record. And the reality is not all procurement organizations are mature enough to act on insights. You might tell them something, your system might tell them something, but it's like the US government. They can't react quickly on anything, right? It's a big organization. So some of these big companies, they can't react as quick because of all the layers they have. So how does your performance management help with companies that can't react as quick and can't because their current tech stack is not up to date?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so it's two things. Is one, it's prioritization. So, we help cut out the noise of, there's, 1,000 things you could be working on, but what is going to drive the most value? Where is the majority of the spend? Where are those insights that are going to drive the largest amount of savings? But then it's also, helping our clients actually action that in the systems that they have. So, Jose mentioned we have 40 plus integration partners. So we're connected directly to, Coupa, directly to SAP, Ariba, to actually run the sourcing event and then report back the savings.
So you can trigger via the API the actual action instead of just telling Joel to go source something. As long as the system that you're talking to is an API, you can actually create action off those insights.
You got it. Yeah. And
that's really cool.
You might have seen in the presentation a lot of different logos, a lot of logos that are actually, on the ProcureTech Cup. We partner with them. You create the opportunity, all of that information flows directly into this e-sourcing platform, and then you can report that directly back.
No, great. I think that is a great differentiation, because I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is actually the execution of the insights. Too many companies I see that aren't able to do that. So those automatic hooks to actually create events and actions using the technology they already own is powerful. So I think that's all the time I have. I could probably ask 700 more questions, but I'll get back to you, Joel.
Yeah, and I'm just, as we're talking about this, the other aspect I see is like helping, and I don't know if you guys do this, Sean, right? But if not, here's a free idea, right? Is actioning like data quality, right? So if I'm able to see, you have, fragmentation, you have a 7 Fastenal records across these systems, and they're on 4 different contracts, right? Like close contracts, like aligned to new master record, et cetera, and like clean the data transactionally that way, right? In the back end transactional systems.
Absolutely. And literally every single one of our clients has that issue to some degree of, duplication of supplier records. So,
cleaning that transactional data up so that the purchasing channels, map to what your strategy and what you're trying to execute on, and then, it shows up in the data the next time around.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So let's just wrap up here with the ProcureTech Cup market map. So bring this up every week just to help vendors situate themselves against everything else that's going on in this space and how they play with the rest of the space. You started alluding to that, Sean, with integrations to other vendors, but would you just walk us through, what we just saw and how it fits into the market?
Sure. Yeah. I avoided the temptation here to circle everything. But yeah, I mean, the 2 gold ones here obviously are spend analytics, we call spend intelligence, because we're trying to move past just general analytics, and project management. So those 2 are kind of core competencies. Obviously, that flexes into category management, as we showed, with a category manager managing their spend. And then we also do have a light CLM tool where we're pulling in the contract data, sending notifications, et cetera. What's not circled here, but what's important, and we just talked about it, is the sourcing integrations, is the supplier diversity enrichment, the sustainability enrichment. Those are all areas that we're also pulling in to really, again, be that headquarters of all that spend data.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And, as you mentioned as well, lots of partnerships around there to be able to facilitate the flow through with whatever somebody's already using or may want to use in the future, right? Awesome. So Sean, Jose, thanks so much for coming on the show today. I think it was a really, really nice demo, really, well articulated value proposition. And so where can folks get in touch with SpendHQ or with yourselves? How's the best way to get in touch to move from Tinder date to first date, or Tinder profile to first date?
Absolutely. So SpendHQ.com, there's a request a demo directly on the website. But I will say Jose is quite the LinkedIn influencer. So follow him, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. Don't post as much, but definitely you can reach out to either of us there.
All right, and then you'll direct traffic as needed. Very cool. And then I'll bring up the little QR code here for the show. So if you want to follow the Road to the ProcureTech Cup, just scan the code, sign up to the newsletter, and you'll get the replays every week. You'll get an article on best practices and trends and how to use ProcureTech to get to your business outcomes that you're looking for. And if you need help, Gabe Perez with RiseNow, myself at Pure Procurement, we help organizations translate their business objectives, their strategy into tech roadmaps and help them execute on it, whether it be selecting technology, whether it be actually implementing these things and making them work together. So don't hesitate to reach out on LinkedIn as well. So on that note, Sean, Jose, Gabe, thanks so much for being here.
Everybody.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And have a good weekend.